bring up about 5 some and put them together. And since I've been here, I know it's truly a day of the Lord, because the pastor asked me a question back there, and it's going to be in here. And the sister mentioned something over there, and it's going to be in here. So just need somebody just to ask me something else to make it 3. Let us turn, please, to the book of Matthew, chapter 5, verse 16. Matthew chapter 5, verse 16. Can you hear that? Okay. In the same way, let your light shine before men, that they may see your good deeds and praise your Father in heaven. Today I will be speaking to you about fathers. What examples are you setting for your sons? Amen. He was a young man full of promise, the joy of his mother. Outstanding athlete on the international track and field arena. At age 15, he graduated high school. A promising student at a major North Texas university. So much going for him. This morning, at age 23, he's waking up in prison, convicted to 5 years for stealing a gun from a man who gave him a summer job. This is real. I'm not making it up. This is real. His mother tried hard. The man who he stole the gun from was trying to help him by giving him a summer job. But he did not have a daddy at home or anywhere to help him become a man. So this morning, in my country, he's just one of the over 300 young men in prison. Many who don't have a daddy or a daddy figure to help mentor them. Now you notice I didn't use the word father, because most males have the ability to spawn life, but some of us don't have the ability to maintain it. We leave it up to the females to raise our young males. And if the truth be told, some of our women do a better job than some of us males. It's not every man who can be a daddy, even though they can be a father. Let me repeat that again. It is not every man who can be a daddy, even though they have the ability to be a father. As daddies, we must take care of our children.
That's right. That's right.
We must spend time with our children.
Yes, sir.
And daddies, we must spend time with our sons and have that conversation about respecting all women. The television shows they watch and some of the songs they listen, sometimes they portray a negative image of women. And we have to correct that by having that private conversation with our sons. You see, some or all of our sons were born through those women that these negative stereotypes are portraying. That negative stereotype also reflects poorly on our daughters. And we have to ensure that we have that talk with our sons, because one day, hopefully, we will expect our sons to marry one of our daughters. But if they have negative views of all women, they will probably never treat women with respect or to receive the love that God created her to receive. Now in Genesis chapter 1 and verse 27, it says that God also created woman in his own image. how can we not teach our sons about respecting one of God's greatest creations? We must have that conversation, daddies, with our sons.
Amen.
Which of us will give our children scorpions for eggs or snakes for fish? And you can find it in Luke 11:11-13. None of us who are daddies will treat our children in such a bad way. But some fathers do. There are many stories I can tell you about some fathers. But we're here today to celebrate the good things about being a daddy. I have been blessed in life to have had a natural father who loved me. He's now dead. A stepfather who still loves me. I called him this morning in the Virgin Islands to tell him thank you for being my father. My uncle, who partially raised me, mentored me, and taught me how to respect women. And the men of Center Union and Little Zion, they also had a part to play in my learning how to respect women. As a matter of fact, I learned so much that when it was time for me to become a man, I didn't go outside. I went over to Brother Clint's house and knocked on his door. And I asked him for his daughter's hand in marriage. Daddies, we need to have that talk with the boys. I got married by this church 25 years ago on December 2nd, 1989. I got that right, baby. Sister Hill, you were here too. And because the conversation was a good one that I had in this church, because I was taught how to respect women, I'm still here after 27 years with Brother Clint's daughter. Daddies, let us begin by having that talk with our sons. Amen. We must teach our men to respect women. Amen. You can't violate a woman and still love her. I'm going to leave that one alone because I think the Spirit has already talked to one person in this room at least. So let's go back to the daddy's sermon. Daddies, there are too many young men falling by the wayside. And it's not because they want to. As the sister said this morning back here, sometimes they have no one to talk to or to listen to their issues. I am mentoring 5 young men in St. Kitts right now. It doesn't matter where you work. It doesn't matter who you are. Take an interest in the young men around you. Amen. Try to mentor at least one. You never know what the child is going to grow up to be. Wouldn't it be great to say, as I say when I saw Herschel back there, and I saw the young man on the sound system back there, wouldn't it be great to say, I knew that child when he was back in Sunday school or choir practice? This only happens when you take an interest in the children around you. Please, take that interest in our sons. When I arrived in St. Kitts back in 2011, the government put me up in a posh hotel. I couldn't afford to stay there on my own. But the government was paying so. But there was a taxi driver outside. And I read his name tag, and I recalled his name. Because when I was about 4 or 5 years old, I remember him. He worked at the newspaper about 10 houses up from where I lived. And he would make these little booklets for me with the trash from the paper. He'd make books for me. And he told me that he made these books for me because he could see I was going to be somebody great. Amen. I was 4 or 5 years old. This is 1964, 1965. And he said, I can see you're going to be somebody great, and I'm going to do my part. So he made these books for me to write in. This little kid from 1964 and 1965 in 2011 was standing with this guy. And this little kid was now the commissioner of police. And you'll understand why that's important as I continue. Because not only was this little kid who he was making books for at age 4 and 5, not only was he the commissioner or chief of police, he was also the chief of immigration. He was also the chief of the airport and the seaport security. And he was also the chief licensing authority for that whole country. Every license, whether it's to be a church, license plates for your car, a driver's license, gun permits, business license, everything that's a license has that little kid from 1964 and 65's signature. He took his time back then with me, and today, I'm the second most powerful person in that country. After the Prime Minister, or as you would say, the President, when it comes to authority, it's that little kid from 1964, 1965. And they said nothing good can come out of Hungerford, right? My wife and I, we have a little joke at home. Whenever she gets me upset, I call her Hungerford. And she cursed me out, she called me a foreigner. The bad thing about it is she's in my country calling me a foreigner. And I tell her, as chief of immigration, I'm going to deport her and take her green card away. She told me, you can do that, but when you come to Hungerford, we'll fix you yourself. She still comes to the island. But anyway, daddies, we need to have that talk. It does not have to be your son, as the sister said. Find someone else's son and mentor him. Be that positive role model. Be a mentor to him. We need to save our young men. And for those of us who are stepdads or adopted dads, God gave you a role to play, which is why you are in that position. It may not be your flesh and blood, but God gave them to you to raise. You are responsible for the outcome of that young man's life. Whether you know it or not, it is your responsibility that he becomes a productive person within our society. And you cannot say he's not your son. You cannot say he's only your wife's child. If he is under your roof, he's your son. And on my island they have a saying, if you feed them long enough, I guess they have the same saying here, right? They look like you. Yes, he may be unruly. I told you this wasn't a regular sermon today. Yes, he may be unruly, but find out why he's unruly. Don't write off your child. Yes, he may get in trouble sometimes, but God is not finished with him yet. As Pastor Drayden used to say, and Pastor Drayden, those who don't know, used to preach here too. As Pastor Drayden used to say, all of us have an X by your name. You are either an ex-bootlegger, ex-gun runner. I ain't gonna say the other one, but an X that too. But all of us have an X behind our name. So please, don't give up on your child. Amen. And yes, I know he went to jail. All right. But so did Jesus. Amen.